The moment Meghan Markle spent years trying to control her image, it slipped out of her hands, not through a scandal, not through a lawsuit, but through a puppet. And once the world starts laughing, there's no taking the narrative back. This wasn't just a joke. It was an alarm bell, a cultural snap. The exact second when carefully managed silence, curated victimhood, and endlessly rehearsed reinventions collapsed into late-night laughter. And the most dangerous thing that can happen to a public figure didn't happen quietly. It happened on primetime television, wrapped in felt, latex, and ruthless British timing.
Iconic comedy show, the puppet Satire spitting image was back, but this time he is being mercilessly, ruthlessly mocked.
Seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorites.
All right, I've finished my clippy. Where it says signature, do I put the royal seal?
That's not necessary, Mr. Off Wales. I see here that your previous career was in realty.
Royalty, but it wasn't a career. My wife's got a Netflix empire. Who doesn't?
I'm Megan Sussex, and I'm a good person.
Are you joking?
If I'm going to succeed in America, I need a lifestyle brand of creams and supplements. Gwyneth Paltrow has Goop, Kourtney Kardashian has Poosh, and Jamie Lee Curtis has Poogert. Now I've got mine, Meg Goo, celebrating the sexy earth goddess in all of us.
Megan, off.
Okay, Megs. Go.
That people do with pineapple instead of just cutting it.
Hold it steady, you ginger pot!
Or following Granny's rules. Don't wear your pants on your head, Harry. Don't bath on the butler, Harry. If I want to play polo in my living room, who's gonna stop me?
Stop that.
Right away, Megs.
To make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge.
I get another lecture from you. I'm gonna go crazy.
Hey, it's the husband formerly known as Prince. Any luck getting a job?
Oh, they had me driving for Uber Eats, but there were too many damn rules. Don't touch the food. Don't taste the food. Drive on the road.
I'm sorry, Rowdy Weddy.
When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it.
Megan, this new Netflix show I'm producing for you is going to be huge. Tell Eldon all about it.
It's about a beautiful young swan, but no one treats her like the beautiful swan she is until season 2 when everyone apologizes to her.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. You're a fucking idiot.
I don't know, Megs. I've tried every career there is. Prince, Hitler. Maybe I'm just not qualified for anything.
That's not true. You're a great husband, a good-hearted man. You've got big, muscular teeth.
Thanks, Meg. And I guess now I'm qualified for this. Unemployment!
What do you get when someone who built her entire brand on privacy suddenly becomes the main joke in a puppet show watched by millions? You get a moment that says everything. Once that happens, the control is gone. The narrative slips away and there's no way to take it back. That clip wasn't comedy, it was a diagnosis. Years of speeches about privacy while cameras kept rolling. Years of attacking the media while depending on it for relevance. Years of leave me alone delivered directly into microphones. The contradiction didn't fade. It hardened. And eventually, it became funny. Because when the audience stops being angry, they stop being persuadable. Laughter doesn't argue back. It doesn't issue statements. It doesn't accept apologies. It just spreads. And suddenly, Meghan Markle wasn't being criticized anymore. She was being mocked.
Talking to me?
Megan, off.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking duchess!
You get Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Montecito herself, getting absolutely torched on live television by latex, felt, and zero mercy. That was the point of no return. When puppets say what commentators are too careful to say. When satire stops whispering and starts shouting. When the jokes don't feel exaggerated, they feel familiar. That's when the image problem officially goes mainstream. This wasn't fringe comedy. This wasn't internet trolling. This was polished, primetime satire doing what PR teams fear most, saying out loud what millions are already thinking, without filters, without sympathy, without legal footnotes. And the reason it hit so hard was simple. The jokes didn't invent anything. They condensed it. Years of speeches about victimhood collapsed into seconds of laughter. Carefully choreographed comebacks shrank into punchlines. And once laughter replaces outrage, the power dynamic flips. You stop being untouchable. You stop being protected. You become fair game. Criticism can be fought. Headlines can be spun. But ridicule? Ridicule sticks.
Hello,
Hello, followers. You know little old me is a high-profile, high-success, global brand-creating, vulnerable, and humble business leader.
You're a lying scumbag piece of shit.
Spitting Image didn't just poke fun at her so-called comeback. It completely wiped it out. A Puppet said in seconds what years of PR failed to fix. Imagine that for a second. 8 years of image rehabilitation, interviews, documentaries, podcasts, speeches, carefully timed appearances, strategic silences, all of it flattened by a felt face with better comedic timing. That's not embarrassing, that's devastating. Because satire only works when it hits something real. The pauses, the tone, the self-importance, the exaggerated seriousness, all of it landed because the audience recognized it instantly. The laughter wasn't cruel, it was recognition. At some point, the comeback stopped feeling inspiring and started feeling rehearsed, predictable, forced. When a puppet steals the spotlight from a meticulously planned return, the problem isn't the puppet, it's the performance. And then the jokes multiplied. Not one parody. 4. Relentless, precise, unforgiving. Each sketch sharper than the last. Each one slicing deeper into the image she was trying so hard to rebuild. It didn't feel playful anymore. It felt like an intervention. Televised, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. The gap between how she sees herself and how the public sees her has never been louder. Comedy smelled blood. If irony were an Olympic sport, she'd already have the gold medal. And then came the real shock. Meghan didn't respond. That silence did more damage than any punchline ever could. No statement, no post, no carefully leaked quote from sources close to her. Nothing. And silence in moments like this doesn't read as calm. It reads as stunned, or calculated, or worse, powerless. When someone who never misses a chance to speak suddenly goes quiet, the internet doesn't move on. It leans in. People replay the clips. They ask why. They connect dots. And once hesitation is sensed, it never lets go. Because this wasn't just about jokes. This was about timing, context. 8 years of preparation behind gates, lavender gardens, rescue chickens, and rotating PR advisors, polishing every word, every pose, every pause. This wasn't disappearance. It was rehearsal, the slow build, the image reset, the soft relaunch, and now, finally, the return. Not because the audience asked, not because the industry begged, but because relevance needed oxygen. A comeback by design. Except Britain doesn't roll out praise, Britain rolls out satire. And instead of applause, Meghan Markle was greeted with latex mockery and surgical sarcasm, the most brutal welcome back Hollywood has seen in years. 4 sketches, 1 duchess, an internet that couldn't stop laughing. That's when the narrative truly broke. Because when satire escapes its home country and turns into global meme fuel, YouTube, TikTok, X, even your aunt's Facebook feed, the comeback isn't being celebrated anymore. It's being laughed at. And once the audience starts waiting for the next joke instead of the next project, the image is no longer yours to control. And then came the moment that changed the tone from satire to exposure. Because once the laughter settled, something uncomfortable surfaced, the realization that the puppets weren't exaggerating. They were quoting, mimicking, compressing reality into something sharper, cleaner, and far more honest than years of interviews ever managed to be. That's when the mirror effect kicked in. People stopped asking, is this too harsh? And started asking, wait, is this accurate? That question is lethal, because satire becomes dangerous the second it sounds identical to the real thing. When viewers can't tell where parody ends and performance begins, the illusion cracks. And Meghan's carefully constructed persona, every polished pause, every deliberate word choice, every choreographed silence suddenly looked less authentic and more automated. The taxi driver parody made that clear immediately. Puppet Meghan staring into the mirror, hyping herself, talking to herself, convincing herself she was the center of the story. Not because it was random, but because it felt familiar. The mirror wasn't a prop. It was the thesis. Obsession with image, control over narrative, performing even when no one else is watching. And then came the line that did the real damage. The one that didn't need context, explanation, or build-up. Not unless my publicist approves it first. That sentence detonated years of PR strategy in under 3 seconds. Because everyone understood it instantly. The laughter didn't come from surprise, it came from recognition. Every moment pre-approved. Every emotion polished. Every reaction filtered. The joke didn't accuse, it summarized. From there, the sketches escalated, not louder, but sharper. The Jaws spoof wasn't about money. It was about scale. Bigger platform, bigger house, bigger ego. Puppet Meghan calmly declaring we're going to need a bigger house, while surrounded by luxury that most people can't even conceptualize. 16 bathrooms, endless acreage, still framed framed as not enough. The audience didn't miss the irony. And then taken. High drama. Intensity, gravitas, that iconic Liam Neeson pause only to reveal the very particular set of skills, writing on bananas. That's when the room lost it, because that joke wasn't random either. It dragged a moment once framed as heartfelt charity back into the spotlight, not to deny it, but to recontextualize it. What had been presented as profound suddenly looked performative. Big words, tiny payoff, confidence doing all the work, grand delivery, minimal substance, and once that gap is exposed, it doesn't close again. Then came the Harry sketch, the one that made even seasoned viewers flinch. Puppet Meghan mid-performance. Focused, intense, locked in. Then Puppet Harry wanders in, clueless, smiling, offbeat, and everything snaps. The outburst wasn't funny because it was loud. It was funny because it revealed something brittle. Control, the obsession with the take, the intolerance for interruption, the performance over partnership. That's when the laughter turned uncomfortable because it felt close to home. Spitting Image didn't turn the marriage into tragedy. It turned it into sitcom territory. Running gags, familiar dynamics, characters the audience thinks they already understand. And that's deadly for a brand built on gravitas. What followed was an outrage. It was avalanche. Memes, reaction videos, remixes, commentary from people who hadn't cared in years. Even verified celebrities jumped in, some praising it as peak British satire, others calling it cruel. It didn't matter, the machine was already running, because once something becomes internet content, it stops being precious. By sunrise, Meghan Markle wasn't trending for projects, announcements, or artistic ambition. She was trending for puppets, for banana jokes, for a mirror scene that said more than any manifesto ever did, and then nothing. No response. Her silence became the loudest move of all. No clapback, no clarification, no emotional appeal. Because she understood one brutal truth, you can't cancel a puppet. You can't sue satire. And fighting it only feeds it. Outrage fuels the algorithm. Silence starves it. Or at least that was the hope. But while the internet laughed, Hollywood watched, quietly. Producers don't tweet. Casting directors don't argue online. They whisper. They assess risk. They decide whether a name brings stability or chaos into a project. And suddenly, her brand didn't feel powerful. It felt volatile. Not because of talent, but because controversy follows her everywhere. Attention, yes, but unpredictable attention. The kind that hijacks press tours. The kind that turns interviews into damage control. The kind that makes studios nervous. In this town, bad acting can be forgiven. Bad press can be managed. What Hollywood doesn't forgive is overexposure with nothing new to show for it. Right now, the narrative isn't returning extras, it's walking punchline. And that's the cruel irony. Spitting Image didn't invent a downfall, it mirrored one. Every joke came straight from her own storyline. The bigger house, the scripted authenticity, the carefully managed vulnerability, the endlessly performed sincerity. The audience wasn't asking for privacy anymore, they were asking for the next sketch. Meghan Markle didn't have her reputation destroyed. She faced something far worse. Her overproduced persona reflected back at her through foam, felt, and flawless British sarcasm. And once the public starts laughing like that, not cruelly, not angrily, but knowingly, the performance is over. Because you can rewrite interviews, you can relaunch brands, you can repackage narratives, but you can't outpace a punchline once it sticks. The punchline once it sticks. The punchline once it sticks.